Hi, folks. Uh, this is what I've been doing for Project Zomboid. Now, I'm a huge fan of mods. Been using mods since the '90s, early '90s, for games and that sort of thing, and been doing my own edits and stuff like that along the way. But I wanted to have see now with Project Zomboid. I always take part in the. I will back up my save in the beta tab. If you go to here, properties. I should enable that actually. Go to betas, and I'm always part of the IWBMS version beta. But what I wanted to do too is that I know there's no multiplayer in Build 41 Plus, right? So I wanted to have a version 4.0 which does have multiplayer, and I have a bunch of mods for it. So I went to on the forums there, and where is it? Right here. I asked a question about can the mod directory inside of the game directory be used, and the developer came back explaining what I could do to get that to happen. And I explained in this. I'll provide the link for this particular post here. And I explained how by following the developers, I'm quite surprised the developer actually responded to me, but that's really quite cool. That rarely happens in a way. But this is one of the reasons why I like this particular dev. Even though I complain from time to time, I still really like and support this developer. And I explain how I did it by following his instructions, or hers instructions, I don't know, anyway, and how I did it. So now I have two versions on my system. I have, which I am, by the way, able to still play multiplayer with the 4.0 version. But what it is setting up the game directory in order to launch. Now, here's my custom launcher, my launch batch file. If I go into it, that's what I have. Cache directory, exactly where I want the cache directory. It puts all your saves and everything else in the game directory. And minus mod folders mods. And so if I start this up, it's only going to show the mods that I have actually for 4.0. It's not even going to access the mod list for 4.1 or 41.51. You'll see here in a second. Now this is version 4.0, and as you can see, it's only going to have the mods that I have, and it's telling you here, put your mods in G Games Project Zomboid Cache Mods folder, and it's only reading the mods that I have installed for this for 4.0. Okay, now if I happen to go back, let's hope this works. I mean, sometimes, man, I'm telling you, I'll test, works perfect every time, and then when I do a video, it doesn't work. So here is the IW or 41.51 version of IWBMS. Now the mods that I have should not even be looking. The mods that I have for 4.0 should not even be showing up in this list. Here are the mods that I have listed for in C users, Zomboid mods, and this is all that I have installed for 41.51. Right there. See? See? Oh, I should enable that actually. But, and that's how it is. I mean, so now I can play both versions. I mean, I can even go back to 4.1.0 or whatever the other 4.1 versions that you can have, and do the exact same thing with that. Right now it's loading all the mods in the background. That's why it's taking a slow amount of time there. But if I want to, I can go into here, go into properties, go into the beta tab, and select Build 39. That's the first version that came out with whatever, build 41 beta, which is build 41. I think was the first version of build 41. I just happened to have saved build 40. Back a little while ago. But anyway, here's build. Now, if I want to go to my previous, which is right here, previous build to complete your save, game saves. Now, if I want to, I can install that, or just click on that. It'll update the files, and then what I'll end up doing is just copying it over to a new file, to a new folder, and doing stuff like that. But I have really no interest in doing that. So I do have build 40, and I also have this build here, which is the most latest version of the build, and that sort of thing. So as you can see, I'm able to just use a totally different version of Project Zomboid and contain everything into that particular Project Zomboid game directory, where everything is saved for me, my saves, stuff like that. You know, so I can play a completely different version. Now, there's also another. Where did I put that? No. Here's a link here to all the parameters you can put into your batch file. How you can start up Project Zomboid. You can turn off Steam, stuff like that. Play it offline, take it with you on the road, do whatever. I will also add this to the description as well. I just thought I'd give you a real quick update to what I'm pretty much working on. To the vast majority of you out there, you could care less. And if I had no interest in Project Zomboid, I wouldn't watch this video either, or have an interest in it. But if you do, at least you have a place where you can go and go, oh yeah, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I would like to do. Stuff like that. And heads off to the developer, just not, or my hats off to the developer, not heads off. She's going to take my head off. But hats off to the developer for even responding to my request. And keeping up with the game. Please keep working on the game regardless of what people say. I do support this particular dev. I do complain about the dev from time to time because I do get frustrated, especially with the combat. It just drives me absolutely around the bend. Also, I would like to see the dev put a little bit more effort and time into helping those, because I know there are people who are who have difficulty with using mouse and keyboard, or because their hands might be crippled, or from arthritis, and using the gamepad works well, or who happen to use the mouse and keyboard but can't stretch their little pinky out or whatever. But to help people to really play the game, it's because this game is really unique. Over all the years, there's only really a handful of unique games out there, and Project Zomboid is actually one of those unique games. Just like, now I'm not comparing Project Zomboid with Dwarf Fortress, not at all, far from it. All I'm saying is that there's unique games. Dwarf Fortress is a unique game, which is simply mind-boggling, complex, and deep. And Project Zomboid, just in its own way, is unique, just as Dwarf Fortress is unique. All right, just like Kingdom Come Deliverance is unique, right? I don't see any game out there revolutionary. Now, what I would find revolutionary is if you took a game like Project Zomboid, or I don't know, say, one of the top line games out there that the system requirements are just absolutely ridiculous, right? Let's say Fallout 4, or what's a game I'm looking for here? Of course, I wouldn't see it. Death Stranding, for instance. one of my favorite games, by the way. Alone Kingdom Deliverance, Project Zomboid, Dwarf Fortress. But if you took something like Death Stranding and was able to have it play on a Pentium, or a computer from the 90s, that's revolutionary. That is what I classify as revolutionary. But there's no game that's revolutionary. There's uniqueness that brings a new set of things. But like I said, if you can bring Death Stranding to play on an old system from the 90s, okay, that's revolutionary. But outside of that, no. Which also brings me to another point, and I know I'm ranting here, not ranting, but meandering here off the main path I would want to start on. How in the name goodness can you take a game that requires a top-line PC system, but yet port it over to a tablet, which is, not powerful at all, but you can have the same game, play. Like, for instance, now this is the only game that I happen to have that I know that they have for XCOM 2. PC requirements, incredibly stupid, right? But yet you can play it on a tablet, an Android tablet, with minimum, of system specs for an Android tablet and still be able to play the game. I mean, how is it you could put it on a bloody tablet, right? But you can't put it on a system, and have it play on a legacy system. I mean, it's ridiculous, guys. Why do I have to? And how is it, the bloody game, if I install it, it's going to be, 32.60 gig, right? But yet they can put it on a tablet that only requires minimum, a minimal amount of space, hard drive space. I mean, come on. That just blows my mind. It's just wow to me. But anyway, that would be revolutionary. Being able to play it on systems from the 90s. But anyway, like I said, Project Zomboid, it's very unique. I put it in the same class for uniqueness as Dwarf Fortress. Very, very unique. But anyway, there you go. I didn't want this video to go on this long. Sorry, guys. Sometimes my mind deviates and heads off in another direction. Anyway, folks, that's what I was working on. I wanted to be able to play 2 different versions on my system and only have the mods show for one version and the mods show for my main version, which I use on Steam. Anyway, bye for now.